Since the tragic death of Justice Scalia almost 1 year ago, there has been a hole in the Supreme Court. The Republican Party prevented President Obama from appointing a new Supreme Court justice, and therefore, until this day, we still do not have 9 Supreme Court justices. But now, according to an article published by the New York Times on February 2nd, 2017, President Trump has appointed a new Supreme Court justice by the name of Neil Gorsuch. Many people are wondering what will be the future of the Supreme Court with this new man in office. And as the Supreme Court justices face a lifelong term, he will have a significant impact on America for the next few decades. And many people are asking the same question: how will Neil Gorsuch impact the Supreme Court? And I'm here to answer the question that he will cause an imbalance in the Supreme Court, favoring the Republican Party. And we can see this in 3 aspects. Firstly, the fact that he favors conservatism. Secondly, through the fact that simply by numbers, once Gorsuch is added to the Supreme Court, there will be an imbalance between the Republicans and the Democrats. And thirdly, we can see that even in the future, if Republicans lose Congress and lose the president and lose the White House, they can still use the Supreme Court as a crutch. Moving on to my first area of analysis, where I discuss how Neil Gorsuch has significant conservative views. But first, let's define conservatism. According to an article published by Reuters on February 2nd, 2016, conservatism is an ideal that supports things such as lower taxes, smaller government, free enterprise, and in terms of social issues, things like preventing abortion, and they're also against homosexuality. From this, we can see that Neil Gorsuch shares many of these same ideals, as according to that same article from Reuters, he has vocally expressed concern over the passing of laws that increase chances of abortion and the rights of homosexuals. Furthermore, he has openly advocated for smaller government and lower taxes, and has openly criticized Obama for having increased taxes on the wealthy. From this, we can see that he has clear conservative and Republican views, and will have a significant impact on the Supreme Court, as his one vote will determine whether abortion is legal and whether the homosexuals can get married. Moving on to my second area of analysis, where I discuss how with Neil Gorsuch in office, the Republicans will have a majority in the Supreme Court. According to an article published by the New York Times on February 1st, 2017, before the appointing of Neil Gorsuch, but after the death of Justice Scalia, there were 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats as Supreme Court justices. This means that when there was an issue in office and there were 4 people voting on one side and 4 people voting on another side, nothing was done, and there was no decisions that were passed. But now, with another Republican in office, the ratio will now be 5 Republicans and 4 Democrats. From this, we can see that if there was an issue that would come all the way to the Supreme Court, such as abortion or the right for homosexuals to have marriage, it is likely that abortion will be denied, and same will be the marriage of homosexuals. As there will be a 5-4 majority, with 5 people voting against abortion and homosexuals, and 4 people voting for. From this, we can see that the Republican Party will have significantly more power, as even with the legislative branch and control over the executive branch, they have little control over the social issues that impact many American people. But now with control over the Supreme Court, they truly have control over America. But extending this, let me explain in my third area of analysis how even if somehow the Republicans lose the legislative branch and the executive branch in the next few years, they can still hold the judicial branch for the next few decades. According to an article published by the New York Times on February 1st, 2017, since Supreme Court justices hold their positions for life, they have significant impacts on the American people for decades. And as that article goes to show, Neil Gorsuch right now is at the age of 49, which means he's one of the youngest Supreme Court justices ever appointed. This means that he will have a significant impact on the American people over the next few decades until he either passes away or until he retires. This means that even if the Republican Party loses its presidency and loses its majority in Congress, it will still be able to make decisions in the Supreme Court that impact the American people and the social issues such as gun control and abortion. So here we can see the Republicans, if possible, if necessary, will use the Supreme Court as a crutch, as they will have complete control over it until any Supreme Court justice retires or passes away. In conclusion, we can see how the appointing of Neil Gorsuch will cause an imbalance in the Supreme Court, causing it to favor the Republican Party. And we can see this in three aspects. Firstly, Neil Gorsuch's clear conservative views. Secondly, through the fact that with him in office, the Republicans will have a 5-4 majority in the Supreme Court. And thirdly, we can see this through the fact that even if Republicans lose the legislative branch and the executive branch, they will still have the judicial branch for decades without the interference of Democrats. But however, while the Republicans may have control over the Supreme Court and other branches of the government, we must keep in mind that the American people still have power over them. While their words are quote unquote the law of the land, in the end it is the American voters that decide the future of America. It is the American voters that decide what will happen to them with new people in office. Thank you.